that's our little theme song, and I cut it short because that's fun for me to do. It gives me a strong, powerful sense. No, welcome to the podcast. I'm Chris Holden, and next to me is
Brian McConnell.
We both make video games. We work in the game industry. I'm an artist. Been making them for a long time. Brian is an animator. And we're going to try out this podcast thing and see if this works. We've done a few tests before, but hopefully this will be the first live one. Now, because we are video game developers and love playing video games so much, we're going to try to just focus this one on video games in general. Games that we like, games that we think are fun, things that we think are fun about games, and whatever else we kind of get into with those conversations.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely stray off course a little bit, but that's fine. It's number one.
Number one.
Why don't you lead us off, Chris? Because you have a lot of experience in the game industry.
It's true, I do.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing it up. No, just to clarify, my first game did ship. I actually shipped 2 games in 1997. So if you just subtract 2011, what is that? 14 years.
Yeah, sounds good.
If I base it like that, like always, it sounds like it's not being humble once you're up to that high of a number. But I always think about guys who are like industry experience and they have it like the first job, like right the date they were hired, or even before that, like modding. There's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you see it taken to the extreme.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've been drawing since I was 3. And you'll see that in resumes.
Oh, really?
And it's like, come on, dude.
I believe it.
Whenever you see that, they're always terrible. There's no case where someone needs to really exaggerate some other fact.
Yeah.
Like when someone says that I'm a really hard worker and I'm willing to learn, I'm really passionate. Well, that may be true, but it's not necessarily a marketable talent.
It's kind of just like trying to add cushioning to your resume to try to make you look
you're
better.
You're softening the blow that there's no information, there's no real content there.
Yeah. I had to do a lot of that on my first resume, just because the only experience I had was 4 years of college.
That was it. Still fine.
Yeah. The cool thing.
That's what I think about. When I think about a resume, I don't really care about people padding it. I just care about it being honest in what it is.
Yeah.
Because if you just graduated from school, so what?
Yeah.
Maybe you're good, maybe you're bad. It's still the same person.
Yeah.
But this is just all this kind of resume game industry kind of talk. Let's just veer that back into games in general. Let's start with just talking about games that we like.
Okay.
Or types of games. That could be fun. And I'm not even on the camera.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you that when I pause it.
How do I do this?
You want to turn it a little?
I think I do need to turn it a little. Oh, you're gonna turn it for me. That'll be cool.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Let me get like I'm talking to Brian. Blah blah blah. Yakety smackety.
That's good. You're about middle of it right now.
Okay, so favorite games. Obviously, the Legend of Zelda series is gonna come up a lot.
Of course.
It's a high inspiration to a lot of us. It's one of the original games we played. I'm kind of an old schooler on this, in the fact that with Legend of Zelda, I still regularly replay this game every month or so, with making attempts to do different types of runs through the game, like speed running it.
Yeah.
Like just recently with Link to the Past, which is such a great game.
Beautiful game.
I ran the game 100% 4 times to get my total time under a certain amount of time. I got it in 3 hours.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
But yeah, there are so many times where you're playing and you just forget, oh no, where do I go? It makes me feel silly at that point.
But you are playing an entire game.
Yeah, it's the whole game. Yeah. That's a huge game.
It is
There's a lot to think about. It's all those heart pieces.
Yeah, all of the Legend of Zelda games are extremely, extremely long if you do all of the side quests, and you 100%ed it.
Oh, of course.
So, 100% in 3 hours, that's extremely good. What's the record on that, do you know?
If you go to Speed Demo's Archives, which is just Google it. I might have said that wrong. It might be Speed Demo Archives, or Speed Demo's Archives. Either way, it may be plural. You look it up. Um, I think the record for the guy, he got it in like less than 2 hours, maybe.
That's
like an hour 45 or something like that.
That's pretty amazing.
But this guy, he's, I'm just goofing around. He's awesome at the game. I'll get killed in a boss fight and be like,
yeah, yeah.
he's just one-shotting it. No, but one thing I really like about those games is the ability to go. It's not really a linear experience. With the original Legend of Zelda, you're just dropped into this big open world, and there's 8 dungeons hidden there, and you can pretty much, short of the 9th dungeon where you have to have all the Triforce. Oh no, spoiler alert. You can pretty much get into every dungeon right from the start, which allows you to choose your own destiny. And I always like to go and get a few heart containers, get the blue ring, which reduces damage, and get the next level sword.
Oh yeah, you definitely.
You can get like 6 heart or not a total of 6. You start with 3, but you can get so powerful before you even go in the first dungeon.
Yeah.
And then when you get that better sword and you walk up to that dragon, just waste him. It's pretty cool. And Link to the Past, the second one, is very much in that same fashion. That after you've done those first 3 dungeons and you get to the Dark World, it's pretty much opened up. I mean, there's a few more items you have to get before you can go everywhere, but like you can go to that first town and you can get a bunch of heart containers, or you can just skip it and come back later. I just like the idea that you can get your character stronger by exploring this world that's always there.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no level to level change. It's not a lot of scripted stuff.
Yeah. I loved Link to the Past. I haven't played it. I think the last time I played it was about 3 years ago.
Well, you recently played through the next, probably the favorite of the Legend of Zelda is the Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
Did you beat it, or did you got pretty close, right?
Oh man, it's sad.
I saw it the other day. It's still sitting. The cartridge is still sitting in the N64, and the controller's right there.
Yeah, I'm kind of an idiot or something. I don't know, but basically I'm kind of a perfectionist in the fact that I like to 100% games such as that. And
you're getting all those Skulltulas.
Yeah, the Skulltulas or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how to say
the gold Skulltulas, whatever.
There's a bunch of them, and they're a pain in the asses.
Oh my gosh, dude! I got 99. I got 99 of them, and I don't know where the last one is.
Bumkus.
Yeah, so because of that, I was like, screw this.
If you look at a guide, if you look at a guide on that has the full list, you forget. Did I get that one? I don't know.
Exactly. I even double checked numerous ones, and I can't find it.
It happened to me on
Probably never gonna find it.
One of my Link to the Past practice runs. I got all the way to the end, and I was short 1 heart container.
Yep.
And I was like, oh no. But I just kind of thought about it, and somehow miraculously remembered which one it was and got it, and everything worked out.
Yeah, it's a real bummer when you can't do it.
Yeah, I would have been so sad. Yeah. I would have been ready to stop.
Yeah, I was ready to stop. And I'm about to enter Ganondorf's castle and just go destroy him. Like, I have the ability to do it, but
might as well rock the ending,
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I had to do that with Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it gets harder and harder to 100%, especially these newer games. Newer games, they specifically will put in things that just take ungodly amounts of work.
Oh yeah, yeah. Final Fantasy VII seemed like that to me, where it was such a huge game, especially since I played 8 prior to that, and 8 is so short compared to 7 because there's not as many side quests and there's not as many boss fights, and even when there is boss fights, they're not as difficult as the ones in 7. I think that's the reason why 7 was liked more. Right. I don't know.
I want to talk about Final Fantasy, but let's just go ahead and knock all these Zeldas.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let's get back to
Legend
of Zelda. I kind of got off track. My bad.
I wanted to mention the one for the Game Boy, and this one came out on Game Boy and then was almost immediately re-released on Game Boy Color, if I remember correctly. The Link's Awakening. Did you ever play that one?
No, I haven't.
That was actually one of my favorites because it's still. It was. I would say it's possibly a little more scripted, but it was still in that same vein of here's the world, go for it.
Yeah.
Kind of Legend of Zelda, but honestly, I haven't. Besides NES Zelda and SNES Zelda, I haven't gone back and replayed that Game Boy one as much. So my opinion might be different if I replayed it.
Yeah, I almost would suggest to not go back and replay it just so you don't ruin that nostalgia.
I don't think
trip.
I'm gonna ruin it.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be fine.
Okay.
It was so cool. They had this color dungeon, and like if you got the game, you could play it. I guess on a regular Game Boy, it might have still worked, but they had this color dungeon for the DX or whatever they called it, color.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter, but it was a special dungeon. Everything was the puzzles were based on colors on the screen, and if you had a regular Game Boy, you just couldn't do that dungeon.
Oh man, I feel bad for the colorblind. They would.
Oh, colorblind. Yeah, the colorblind gamer was also.
Oh man,
they took a hit from this.
Or the illiterate gamer, and all those old games there's no like.
What, text-based games?
There's no audio dialogue, so it's just all text. Like if you were illiterate and you were playing one of those games.
Illiterate. if you're like half the population of Detroit.
Yeah.
Look it up. It's true. What came after that? There was a bunch of them on the portable units. There was Minish Cap. Minish Cap was really good. I don't know if you had a chance to play that one.
No, I've been wanting to play that one. Another one I really wanted to play, but I don't have any friends, is...
Ages and Seasons?
No, not that one, but that one does seem pretty cool, the 2-season ones. But no, Four Swords.
Four Swords.
I thought Four Swords would be pretty cool. It kind of reminded me of Castle Crashers. Like, even though Castle Crashers came out after, I just like that style. I don't know. But yeah,
it looks like a lot of fun. I never really got that into it, but we played it a bit.
Tell me about the Ages of Seasons one, because
that one actually came before that. This is another Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
It came out around the time of that whole Pokemon thing, and kind of was doing that same thing of where you get both carts and play both games, but it was a little bit. You could say it's overwhelming because you're like, I have to play through both of these games.
And what was the two games? One was summer and one was
one was Ages. It was Ages and one was Seasons.
Oh, okay.
And so you could switch between all these different things, and I mean it's still pretty much a Legend of Zelda, but it was because they were trying to use the whole 2 cartridge and working with the buddy dynamics. There was so many limitations to the game.
Okay.
If you just played one.
Yeah.
Whereas all the previous Legend of Zeldas, that was the one thing I was talking about, which I liked so much about it, was the fact that it was kind of an open world, and you did have the choices to go, I need to go get this item now so I can do this crazy thing over here early, or whatever. But because it required that both of the cartridges kind of had to link together and play together, you were very limited.
Yeah.
So it was, like I said, it was a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it was still cool. Like I have both of them, and even have the guide for them because I used to buy guides all the time just for art. That's really the only reason I got it.
Actually, that's the whole reason why I got all of the Final Fantasy guides. Sorry to go back to Final Fantasy, but
it's okay, Brian. You don't have to apologize.
But yeah, Four Swords looked really awesome, and I didn't really understand how all that worked, and I also didn't want to go out and buy 4 Nintendo Game Boy Advances.
You already blew that by buying
all of the
2
cords
for Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
I know all about that.
And then you have to hook up all the cords to the GameCube, and you had that other box that attached to the GameCube. I never really got big into the GameCube. But
did you play Majora's Mask much?
Oh, I loved everyone. Okay, well, I shouldn't say that, but yeah, I loved.
I'm going to generalize here and say everyone.
I loved Majora's Mask. It was it was, in my opinion, it was not as good as Ocarina of Time, but Ocarina of Time is such a great game. It's so difficult to make a better game than that. But yeah, Majora's Mask was a great side quest of that game.
Sure.
The timeline in the Zelda.
Well, people
world,
do respect it a lot, and it was kind of like, oh, here's a golden era. Like imagine if on the SNES they also released another Zelda.
Yeah.
After Link to the Past, it would have been dope, but people would still say, "Oh, a Link to the Past," blah blah blah. Of course, that's just an assumption because who knows? It could have came out and been like ridiculously amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I bet it would have took advantage of Mode 7.
Mode 7.
Remember those Mode 7 remember that where like pixels and stuff could move closer to the screen?
I've never even heard of that.
They made so much. They made a lot of hype about that. I think it's just a bunkus term they made up.
It sounds funny. It sounds like 3D nowadays. Like it's 3D. It's not really.
Well, essentially what they meant by that was like normally sprites just had to always be sprites, but this allowed them to stretch on the screen or something like that.
Huh. That's strange.
I don't know. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, could you imagine if they made Ocarina of Time for the NES or the SNES? That would have been. That would have been.
That wouldn't have been working out.
Yeah, I don't think.
Different game.
Yeah.
Different game. Can't make this assumption.
Exactly.
Cannot make this comparison. Well, after Majora's Mask, there was I guess you could call it a polarizing title. Was a Wind Waker.
Yeah, that one looked. I loved the style.
I loved
of
the
that
Wind
one.
Waker. It's one of my favorites.
I did not play it because I wasn't too big into the GameCube, but the style of it just looked amazing.
Oh, the style was great.
Yeah,
there were so many moments in that game where the art would just surprise you of how unique and cool it was.
Okay, and I don't want to spoil the game too much, but even though I haven't played it, I've heard a little bit about it.
I don't want to spoil the game, but you have to collect Triforce.
Yeah, that's basically it. No, but you still play as Link, but you're not the original Link or something like that. It takes place 100 years later.
Well, that's kind of what they do with every Legend of Zelda, it seems.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it does seem that
way. They reset it.
Yeah.
But they always have like the fabled story of the ancient hero.
Yeah, it's reincarnation.
And then it's reincarnation.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, you got blonde hair. Here, put on his outfit.
Oh shit, that's brilliant.
Now you have to do. What's really happening is, it's just this village of people.
Okay.
And all their children are. Every time they have a boy, it's clearly a blonde-haired little boy, and once he reaches a certain age, the tribe, they put the green outfit on him, and they just send him off on this journey where they die. And they all die. But you happen to be that one that came along and got through it. It's just like they're just sending all their boys out into this adventure to die.
It's sort of like the if you put an infinite amount of monkeys typing on an infinite amount of typewriters for an infinite amount of time, you'll eventually get Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's nothing like that.
It's not at all.
I see what you mean by that, but it's kind of like the idea of this infinite lives.
Yeah.
Like if those infinite lives that you have in a game were actually real.
Yeah.
It really is you just taking control of the life of some other person.
Yeah.
And that's the true story of Legend of Zelda. But yeah, I liked Wind Waker. Some people didn't like the art style. Some people didn't like the boating because it felt like it wasn't the same as just walking everywhere.
Okay.
But whatever.
Was it difficult to control?
Actually, it was pretty awesome. There's a lot of fun stuff you did on the water.
Awesome.
You could basically just like play your ocarina there and call the wind. No, wait, he did this. He had a conducting, so he would conduct.
Okay.
He would conduct with the Wiimote. I forgot all about that.
The Wiimote prior to it coming out. That's pretty fun. What was the water like in that game? Like you couldn't just go and randomly dive in any spot of water, could you?
Well, you got in a boat.
Yeah.
And you just rode around in that boat.
Okay.
For the most part.
Okay.
You get like a hook upgrade on the boat.
Okay.
Which would go into the water, and you could find treasure.
Okay, that's kind of how that worked.
And I'm pretty sure there were scenes where you would actually, I don't know if you went down or not. God, I feel like I'm just making up stuff now, but there was a lot of interesting things with that sea, according to time. Like there was like a pirate ship or something, like a ghost ship that would only appear at night at a certain moon phase. Because the sky in that game was ridiculous. It always looked like a big real ocean, and it would be day and night, and there would be weather, and the moon actually had moon phases, like it would be full moon, crescent moon, and all that stuff.
Oh wow.
So all that stuff was really unique and interesting. I felt like that added a lot of depth to the game, that you could just kind of hang out in the ocean doing things.
Yeah.
But
that's pretty awesome.
When it came to going places quickly, it's kind of more difficult.
So you could actually see specific phases of the moon?
I'm pretty sure.
Huh. That's a neat little.
It wasn't near as cool as their clouds, though. I mean, their clouds and stuff are awesome, and storms would smoothly roll in.
That's pretty cool. That's one I want to go back and play. I do own a GameCube now. For Christmas, one of those years, as spoiled Americans, I ended up getting a PS2, and my brother got the GameCube. So we eventually would trade back and forth, but we had.
But you would fight to the death.
Yeah, we. Well, it wouldn't be much of a fight, but.
Oh snap! Brian's tough, ladies and gentlemen.
He's not listening, so.
What was after Wind Waker? Was that the next portable one? Did we have some portable ones there, or
I'm wondering,
or was that right into Twilight Princess?
Did that come right after? I imagine Four Swords came before Twilight Princess, and then.
Oh yeah, we kind of did that, but
yeah,
there was the one. I've got this one, the one for the DS. There was a few of those. There was the one that actually, the Phantom Hourglass. There we go. I couldn't think of the name. Phantom Hourglass was the one that was very much the same as Wind Waker. Same art style. You got in a boat. You went from island to island hopping around. But it wasn't as advanced as Wind Waker. Because it's a DS. It's obviously a weaker system. But
yeah. Okay.
I liked it all right. I played through it. But again, some people had that same opinion of, well, you're in the boat. But what even got worse than that was Spirit Tracks. Because Spirit Tracks is a train. It's not a boat, it's a train.
Okay.
So you're stuck to this fixed track.
Oh, okay. That's
and that was kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I
because there were parts where you had to do specific things, like shoot from the track to hit something, or ride on the tracks until you found a certain monster or whatever.
If you miss it,
you got to go around forever. Yeah. It's god.
Yeah, that's definitely annoying. But I feel like some games do need that. Like, it was perfect in Ocarina of Time with the only one that I could remember really, even though I just recently played it, was the one where you're riding on Epona in just an oval, like some sort of NASCAR type oval type thing, and all you have to do is get 1,500 points, and you get either an upgraded quiver,
one of those
to hold
deals.
more arrows. I think that's what it is. I think that's what the prize is.
Well, getting all those ghosts is pretty tough too.
Yeah, that was another one too. Even though you had control of Epona, and
yeah, you got a lot more control.
Yeah, that one was really tough. That one took me a long time, and that was another one where I missed a ghost, and I was like, oh, fuck, where's that one ghost? But
you found it.
Yeah, I got it.
But yeah, Phantom Hourglass, what I felt about that game, my memories of that game was it did have cool dungeons and the things you like about Legend of Zelda, but so much of your time was consumed by just waiting on those tracks, just looping on those tracks.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if it was just more of that dungeon stuff, I think it would have been better.
I'm gonna have to give that one a shot too. There's so many.
I've got that. I can let you borrow it if it's someone else hasn't borrowed it. I got a bunch. I've got all of them. So.
I don't own a DS though. I
can let you borrow it. I got
it. Okay. Yeah, it's sad. I have 4 Game Boy Colors, and I don't have
wow.
and I don't have a DS. Yeah, that's kind of sad. No, I don't know.
Did you get into Twilight Princess at all?
I played the first advanced player would probably say it was 2 minutes, but to me it was 2 hours. I didn't get very far in it now. So
I didn't get very far in it either. I don't know. I think it was just me. I had problems with the controls.
Yeah.
Once I got to the second dungeon, I couldn't get anywhere without just jumping straight into not even the direction I wanted to go. Link just jumping straight into the lava every time, and I forgot specifically where it was, but I couldn't get further. It just locked me down, and I really tried to play that. I mean, clearly with my experience of Legend of Zelda, I would put a little more effort into it, but as much as I tried, I just got stuck. There's something about the controls of that game, and then around the same time, I had some friends telling me a lot of other bad news about escort missions and stuff like that, and heavily scripted gameplay. And I kind of felt that way about the start on that game kind of knocked me down.
Yeah. Well, the whole...
You spend so much time doing nothing. You like go and you walking around and you fish. And
yeah. That's
much,
kind of what it was, yeah.
So much time before you're actually...
Sorry.
doing the game.
Yeah.
So when are you going to let me out? And then when they let you out, they stick it to you. And
I remember dicking around with this one cat, and at the very beginning, I didn't know what I needed to do with that cat.
I remember that cat.
And yes, apparently I had to catch a fish or something. I'm sure there's people out there that are like screaming at us.
This is what you do. This is what you do. It's the best game in the world.
But no, the whole art style of that game, like it was completely, I guess, upgraded to be more realistic,
more adult.
Yeah, more adult.
Like there was a backlash to that Wind Waker style.
Yeah.
It translates great to the portable.
And you know me, you know how much I love like cartoony type stuff. And,
sure.
Yeah, so that maybe that was part of the reason why I just didn't care for it too much or didn't want to go any further.
The style, it was kind of generic and desaturated.
Yeah, and
like it could have been that same style and had stronger colors maybe.
And Link's all proportionate. He's got like perfect proportions.
Yeah, I mean that stuff's fine. I mean, if people want to
play,
yeah. If people want to play with an adult Link, that's fine. But
it's
maybe
just,
not Gears of War Link.
Yeah,
that might be too much.
He's like,
there's a line.
Could you imagine? Yeah. No, but I mean, every game before that, there was very exaggerated proportions. He always had a larger head. He always had like a really, really spiky, pointy hat. And I think at the beginning of that game, he didn't even have a hat, did he? I don't even know. But
oh yeah, that's how they blew it. They gave him some poncho.
Yeah, it was something.
That wrong
weird.
outfit.
Like, this
I'm
is
out.
Not Link.
Bullshit. I'm out.
But yeah, I guess that's not a good excuse to not like the game.
It's stupid.
It's very stupid. I do agree. But I mean, I don't even have an opinion.
But that's the same reason anyone hates a game is a petty reason.
Yeah.
Or if anyone like disagrees with it, it's just some petty reason because we're talking about video games. It's like.
Yeah, exactly.
So enjoy them and love them, and don't care what other people think about them.
Yeah, exactly. My opinion on that doesn't even matter because I didn't even get to the first dungeon. So
yeah, I got past the first one. I don't remember it, but they got this new Skyward Sword coming out.
Oh my gosh,
that looks cool. I don't know anything about it, but it looks cool. I'm down.
It looks beautiful, and the fact that you're actually able to fly now, it reminds me of the style of Wind Waker. But this time, instead of being
that was one thing I was kind of worried about. But it's just purely speculation. But the videos show like him just flying over this world where it had all these like, dips.
Yeah, like weird.
And then he would just jump into those dips, and I was worried that it'd be this much like Spirit Tracks or Wind Waker. That you just fly around, and then you fly to a dungeon, and you just kind of jump into it, or you fly to a town, and you just jump into it.
Oh yeah. That makes sense. It looked like like some sort of like tornado or twister type things that you just fall into and it takes you to the next thing. But yeah, I guess that one of the big things about like Ocarina of Time and the really good ones is like there's this huge world where you're just able to explore every little nook and cranny and blow up holes behind weird trees and stuff.
Clearly, our favorites like the Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time do have that pretty big world. Ocarina, it starts off a little bit limited, but once you're adult Link and you can kind of go back and forth, you can pretty much get wherever you need to be.
Yeah.
There's barring a few items.
Yeah, exactly. You can even do that.
It's like, once I get the grappling hook and the hammer and the power glove.
Yeah.
Once I got all that, I'm good to go. Once I get that mirror.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Skyward Sword's going to be like, because maybe they'll just have like a bunch of random floating islands around or something they could drop onto, and
who knows? It'd probably be fun.
Oh yeah.
Or terrible.
Is it? Do you know if I think I saw the same trailer you did, and I don't remember them talking too much about the controls of it, but it is going to be on the Wii, and I don't know if the nunchuck is going to be.
Oh, yeah, and they've got that new peripheral. They introduced at E3, that screen.
Tell me about this.
You didn't see that screen?
No, I missed it.
God, I don't even know what they called it. It was like a they use wacky names, but
yeah,
it's something like PP or something.
Google PP people.
No, But it's basically like a handheld. It's like an iPad. It looks very similar to an iPad, but it's a controller as well.
Okay.
And it can render the screen, but you can also aim with it.
Huh.
And stuff. Cause the guy was playing in some video the aliens, colonial marines.
Okay.
And he was aiming with it.
That actually sounds pretty awesome. I mean,
It could be neat. It's one of those things. I always say, hey, look, they're trying something different.
Yeah, and it's always good to step forward.
At least, some people are always like, it's just some gimmicky derpa. But, somebody's got to try it. You can't just keep doing the same thing. Someone's got to try to push things to the next level, and they've got to try to open up doors to the casual gamer.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of curious what the...
I'll let them do it. I might not buy it. I might not play it. But hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, same here. I'm all for it. I mean, I'm always thinking about the future of gaming, and one thing that I think would be really cool is if you have like this sort of... I don't know how it would work. This is the future we're talking about. But you have some sort of a fish tank type thing. And maybe it's just a cube, or maybe it's an elongated fish tank. And you can you literally see the whole 3D world being somehow virtually rendered within that tank.
Oh, kind of like a hologram.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that'd be pretty awesome. It wouldn't be first person or third person. It'd be like God person.
It'd be kind of similar to isometric view.
Yeah,
of course, you're controlling it.
Yeah, it would be.
You can control the camera because you're moving your head.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just kind of imagine that kind of like isometric games, because those are those first it's all 2D, but they look kind of 3D.
Yeah. So I think that would be pretty neat. But then again, it would always start out with some possibly horrible prototype of it, and no one would buy that. But then it's a good step towards.
Well, yeah, like I said, someone's got to give it a shot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like the Virtual Boy. Whew.
Oh yeah.
That
was the one that was all. It was all
the
red, right?
Yeah, it was weird too.
That was a strange one. I never saw one live.
I never saw anybody that had one. Like I had all my friends go up. You had your friend that had the Genesis, or your friend that had this and that, whatever. At some point, everybody had everything.
Yeah.
But nobody ever had that.
There was always that one rich kid that came in show and tell.
I love the
day
glove.
It came up. The power glove. But do you have any strange ideas of what the future might hold as far as gaming goes?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar to what was that one called? The Virtual Boy or whatever?
Yeah, the Virtual Boy.
Is that what it's called? Okay, Virtual Boy. But it's like just some sort of a visor that goes on your head, and you're able to walk around some large space that you have to plan out prior or something. Or there's always the giant hamster ball type thing.
Here's something I've been thinking about a little bit. Okay, with augmented reality, they use this with the 3DS. You can have the game render over the real world.
Okay.
And it's crazy. It's awesome. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
Definitely.
It basically just, you throw down this card, the question mark, and the game reads that. Is where it does stuff, and it distorts. It'll distort the surface that it's on, and eventually this giant dragon will come out, and it's really ridiculous because you'll see it it seems like it's bending the table or whatever it's on, and you can. Cliffy B talked about on one of those Joe Rogan podcasts. He put the card on his girlfriend's stomach. When the dragon comes out, it looks like an alien's chest burster. And that's
pretty awesome.
That's a pretty cool story. But yeah, I saw it and played it at GDC, and when it just started distorting the surface and stuff coming out, I was pretty impressed by how cool that was. Now, if you take that same idea with just a pair of glasses, well, like a virtual reality headset, but that VR headsets, look, it's not 1991.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a pair of glasses. It's going to be light. It's not going to be bulky. It's not going to be stupid. It's going to be people won't know it. You'll have this basic thing on, and it'll augment reality that you're looking at, possibly.
Yeah, it'd be kind.
And then you could play multiplayer with your buddies. You could FPS with your buddies.
Yeah.
In real life, with augmented reality on top of that, that would be nuts.
That would be really awesome. It'd be even more interesting if it was like those glasses somehow gave you a shock on your temple when you took damage. That'd be interesting, but that some kid is gonna
10% of the players would die.
Yeah, exactly. But would it be worth it?
Would it be worth it? And it's worth it.
No, we're just playing around here, people.
No, he's serious. So I think that pretty much cleared up the Final Fantasy. I was going to move into the Final Fantasies. But we cleared up the Legend of Zelda's there and then talked a little bit about the future of gaming.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess the Final Fantasies were brought up, and I figured we should mention them because I know Brian is a big fan, especially of the later ones. I was a big fan of the earlier ones.
Oh, yeah.
I remember working over the summer and just to be able to buy the Final Fantasy, which was it was called Final Fantasy 2, I guess, in the States, for the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And I was so happy to get that game.
Yeah.
It was Final Fantasy, I think that's Final Fantasy 4 in Japan.
See, that's where I get very confused, so I wouldn't know.
Well, there's basically if Final Fantasy 1 came out on the NES.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty cool, basically the same mechanics, but it's got some difficulties to it.
Yeah.
That make it a bit less accessible to newer gamers.
But one on the NES, is that the same in Japan and America?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But, and they had number 2 and number 3 in Japan on the NES, but they didn't release them in America.
Oh, okay. That's where the
that's where the gap comes in.
Okay.
The first one. There's another one later.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, it's kind of grindy JRPG type stuff. So like I said, it's a bit less accessible to the modern gamer.
Again, it was like the prototype for all the future.
Dude, it's like
yeah.
Final Fantasy 1 and Dragon Warrior 1 in the US, or Dragon's Quest. The first one of those are just classic RPGs. Like the elements of those games are still the base of games today.
Okay.
But they're pretty much just grind RPGs where you start here and you've got this radius of area that you can move around in the overworld and kind of walk around, and you'll randomly battle stuff. And the farther you go, the tougher those monsters get. But if you move in the right ways, you'll come across towns, and in those towns there'll be new weapons and armor, and so on and so on to the end of the game.
Yeah. Those are very strange ones to play. A lot of the Dragon Ball Z games that I played seemed to be like that, but
the early ones.
Yeah.
Pokemon's pretty much that.
It is pretty much that. You just collect badges.
But the difference is, instead of grinding out harder and harder monsters, you're actually able to catch them and use them.
Yeah.
That's kind of an effective strategy to beat the grind.
Yeah. That is a very good point.
Possibly.
But either way, back to early Final Fantasy games.
Yeah. So the first one for me, one of my buddies in elementary school, he had the first Final Fantasy, and I had that subscription to Nintendo Power, and they shipped a special Final Fantasy 1 guide and everything, and we got into that, and he played while he was playing it. But I got more into it with Final Fantasy 2 when I was able to buy my own copy and play it. Like I said, I did Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo and loved it so much, one of my favorite games. And then probably a huge hit and a huge emotional attachment people have is Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo, which was Japan Final Fantasy 6.
Okay.
Because they skipped 5.
Okay.
If you get into emulators and stuff, and they translated it so you can actually play Final Fantasy 5 now. No, actually, scratch that. They re-released them all on PlayStation 1.
That's right. Was it Tactics or something?
Well, there's that too.
Chronicles.
It was discs. Like they had two in one.
Okay.
You get one of them had Chrono Trigger and something, and Final Fantasy 5 and something. And I have all of those. I actually have all those PlayStation games.
It's a sad thing. I own 1, 2, and 3, all for the NES and the SNES, and I have not played one of them.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's a sad thing. All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I promise.
Yeah, it was really cool when they re-released those on the PlayStation. It gave a larger audience access to them, and that's pretty cool. And it was difficult to find them all too because they were the rare PlayStation games. As far as PlayStation 1 games, besides those, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw out Symphony of the Night I'll talk about that in a little bit later, but the Castlevania series is definitely another in the tops. But yeah, Final Fantasy III in the US, amazing game, highly referenced. Everybody loved that game. The music was awesome. The ability to give abilities to every character, and I ended up going to that island in I think it was the Northwest that had all the dinosaurs on it, and upgrading every one of my characters to pretty much level 99, and all had the Ultimo ability.
Oh yeah.
Which was like, if you played Final Fantasy, it was like Meteor. Meteor was, if you cast me, that's it, 999. And but in Final Fantasy III, it was Ultima, or was it Ultima or Ultimo? It was something.
I think it's, well, in most of the later ones that I played, it ended in an A.
Okay.
So.
Because I didn't want to confuse it with the game series of Ultima. Anyway, that was like the spell.
Yeah.
And I raised all my characters to every one of them had that.
Hell yeah.
So I'd come out with my first line of guys. It's like Ultima, and then I had that mimic guy. What was his name? Go-Go?
Are we talking about 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was that mimic guy that no matter what the guy before him did, he automatically did it.
Okay.
And so he would cast it. And then I always threw that. I had that Yeti, that Bigfoot Umoro. And I always had him in my first party just because he was strong and he didn't need Ultima. He would just go out and do like his pummel or whatever it was and just waste mobs.
Nice.
Just effing up S. And he was awesome. But yeah, that was a great game. Had a good time with that. But after those, at the time, I didn't get into the PlayStation 1. That was when I got into PC gaming more, which was part of me getting into the game industry and stuff. Was I got into like Doom and Duke Nukem and then Quake.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of drew a lot of my focus away from console gaming at that time. So I actually missed PlayStation 1, like all those early games.
Oh, that's
like
sad.
I had all those Final Fantasies. Now I re-bought them later. I actually have all of them now.
Okay.
I have like a collection.
Good. I was gonna say, because when PlayStation 1 came out, I don't know how old I was. I was very, very young, but oh man, I used to go to my buddies all the time and play that. It was amazing. We had all sorts of games. Yeah, I wouldn't go over to my buddies to play Final Fantasy though. So we'll get back on track.
Well, yeah, you can go ahead and talk about those PlayStation Final Fantasies, about like what you liked about those, because you can give a better insight.
Okay, I didn't play any of the ones that were.
I didn't play any of them. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't play any of the ones that were callbacks, like to the earlier ones, the re-releases, basically.
Yeah, I'm just talking about like 7, 8.
Yeah. I played and beat 7. I played and beat 8 100% twice. I loved 8. I think the reason why I loved it so much is it was my very first Final Fantasy game, and it was like one of the major first RPGs that I ever owned. So I have like some sort of emotional attachment to that one.
Just as a little bit of interest, the first RPG I ever played was Dragon Warrior on the NES. And I was playing that, I think it was in like 5th or 6th grade at my buddy's house, and we stayed up like all night for a weekend to play all the way through it.
Nice.
Man, that game was just a pure brutal grind RPG. And I tell you what, it's good to try and replay this game now using an emulator that allows you to speed up the game. Like when you can jump into like 800 or 1600%.
Yeah.
So the guy's just like,
yeah,
and mob spawn, you kill it. Mob spawn, kill it.
We're talking about speed, by the way.
Grinding. Yeah. Well, that's the idea. Is you're speeding up the game, because that's what made the game so difficult.
Yeah.
Was it just like the guy moves? He's like, and when a fight happens, it's like, and it shows the picture. Then you wait a second, and then it shows the speech bubble, and it's like, here's this monster. This monster is approaching you. You have encountered this monster. The monster attacks. It misses. You attack. It dodges. And you're like, son of a bitch. It's very slow.
Yeah.
You can speed it up, and it's awesome now. Anyway, go ahead with the Final Fantasies. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'll start with Final Fantasy VIII since I know that one best, and we can end on 7, which was by popular opinion, one of the best Final Fantasies. So with 8, you start out as a character named Squall, Squall, and he's kind of what nowadays would be known as emo, but he was just one of my favorite characters of all time, because this was before emo came out, and he was a badass. He seemed like a badass to me. Like, he was someone that I would look up to. But it's basically a love story between him and this girl Rinoa, and you go through the game, and it's a wonderful love story. But it's very easy compared to Final Fantasy VII. There's, like I said earlier, there's not as many side quests, and you don't get as much equipment. I think there's probably about the same amount of characters that you can play. Actually, I think there's less. Actually, I think there's only 6 that you can play as. I could be wrong. It's been a long time. But one of my favorite things about Final Fantasy VIII is the way that Squall and his enemy complement each other. I forgot his enemy's name. That's a Cypher. It was Cypher or Cypher or something. But yeah, they were completely contradicting and complementive of each other. I guess I don't know the proper word to use, but for example, Squall gives Cypher a scar on one side of his face, and then using an upward stroke. But prior to that, Cypher gives Squall a scar on the opposite side of the face using a downward stroke. Cypher wears white, and Squall wears more dark colors. And just the way those two characters complement each other throughout the game just made it very very interesting. You see the extremely strong character go more towards the dark side, and you see the weak one that always got picked on his entire life end up saving the world type thing.
What the hell are you talking about? So you're talking about 8?
Yeah,
9?
this is 8.
Okay.
I figured we could talk about 7 in a little bit, because I'm sure you've played 7, right?
Not enough.
Not enough. Okay.
It's one of those games that I got played just a little bit years ago, and it not like a lot of those games where it's like, oh, I played it one time.
Okay.
I didn't replay. There's a lot of games where I have to say the games I've replayed.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, 7 was by far one of the best in the Final Fantasy series. You start out as a character named Cloud. He's got really spiky blonde hair and this awesome sword at the time.
Yeah, that's a very iconic character, the way he looks. He's kind of that whole era of, like, PlayStation had those iconic characters because they had so few polygons to work with that they would just kind of overdo things.
I think it's because of PlayStation. I think PlayStation is the reason why I enjoy drawing a lot of my characters with, like, giant forearms. Because
if you draw characters with big forearms because you have big forearms.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know what it is. It just like the forearms are they represent manliness to me, because I don't know, like swinging hand hammers and claw hammers. Yeah, those type of things. Those are what build up your forearms.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Gillen.
in Final Fantasy VII, all the characters were like that. They had extremely, like, not extremely thin, but like pretty exaggerated small biceps, and then they got to these forearms.
Yeah,
just
they're
these
so
huge
silly.
things. Like Barrett has this giant machine gun attached to his forearm, and
All those characters that were pretty good.
Yeah,
very memorable, iconic kind of characters.
Oh, for
good
sure.
Silhouettes.
Yeah, Tifa. There was always like this weird love triangle on which one you wanted to choose. Was it either Tifa or Ares, I believe was her name.
You go with the one that didn't die, huh?
I don't know what it was about me. I always went for the one that did die. Oh, spoiler alert.
That's why I made that. I didn't really expect you to lead into anything. But I tell you, when there were several times over a few of those Final Fantasies, when they killed a character, I was like, ah.
We probably shouldn't mention the one that does die.
Well, like
but I mean, I'm sure most.
Even like in Final Fantasy 2, and in Final Fantasy 5, like there's key characters. Like when you start the game, you're like, oh, here's my party, yay, forever. Then you'll get like, you think you're like halfway through the game or so, and then bam, they just kill that dude. And you're like, what? And they give you somebody else, and everything works out.
Isn't that a strange thing? It was a very strange thing for me because I never experienced before.
Early on, it was. That doesn't happen because you get extra lives, man.
Yeah,
Your character can't die. He's gonna finish this game.
You get so attached. You get so attached to this character, and then all of a sudden they just take him away from you. It's kind of a sad thing.
Did you play many of those later Final Fantasies or more recent ones? Because I've been totally out of the loop on those. Because to me they seem more like a DVD, but I know some people like that game.
It's kind of strange. I really enjoyed 10. And I didn't play 9. I only played 9 for like 15 minutes.
Sure.
Once again, it was another one of those games where I knew I was not going to be able to 100% it.
I don't have 88 hours.
Yeah. There's no way to, like, it's almost impossible to 100% 9. It seems like. So I kind of gave up on it, which is sad because I hear so many people say how it's such an awesome game.
That's fine. Like I said, it's a difference of opinion.
But yeah, anything after 10, I did not play. 11 was that one that turned out to be like an MMO type one, I believe. I think 11 was an MMO one.
Yeah, I'm not even sure.
It's like one of the first MMOs or something on the console.
Oh, well, they do have that one.
Yeah.
I've seen people play it. It doesn't look bad or anything.
No, it doesn't look bad at all. It's just.
But I'm not super into it.
I don't want to get into MMOs ever because I know.
Come on, dude! I got an account. I've got an extra Warhammer account you can play.
Those are so addicting.
It's got all the entitlements because
I would give up on this life if I. That's the reason why I don't play MMOs is I know I'd give up on.
I'll tell you what it is with that game with Warhammer Online. It's a lot of fun, but I immediately was finding myself like once you start getting to a certain like you're playing past the first tier of the game, which is like the first 10, first 12 levels really, but you can go a little higher in there now.
Okay.
But after that you'll find yourself, okay, I'm becoming more hardcore and less casual. But it's really a super fun game to play, just like in Tier 1. So you make a character and you just go out into the RVR lake and just fight people. Or just queue up scenarios and fight people. That's where it's fun, because there's no real attachment to your character in time. So you can just go in and like just play a few matches and be done.
Oh, nice. I've looked at Warhammer before, and it's always been like if I were to choose an MMO to destroy my life with, I would
destroy your life.
I would probably most likely go with Warhammer because it looks so beautiful compared to World of Warcraft. But then again, all of my family members play World of Warcraft.
Oh, weird.
So.
Even your little brother?
Yeah, my little brother just got into it recently.
Recently? Who?
Yeah.
Who's the asshole
thing.
that just got into World of Warcraft recently?
By recently, I literally mean recently. Like he got all of them. He got all of the original and then all the expansions. I don't know anything about World of Warcraft.
I don't really.
He got like all of them for Christmas this last year. Yeah.
That's funny.
So and he's already I don't know anything about his character, but he's already like kicking ass. He tells me all the time about how he's like amazing at it or whatever. And then my uncle plays it. My uncle's only like 3 years older than I am, so him and I are pretty much cousins.
You ever wonder when someone's like, "Oh, I'm so awesome at this"?
Yeah.
And I know you're my brother. You're probably actually terrible. I remember there was a point. He's not like this anymore. My little brother used to be like, "Oh, I'm games and I'm awesome and stuff," but the only games he'd play was like stuff he could cheat at or something. Yeah. Well, you're not really good. You're not really on the leaderboards.
Well, when it comes to my brother in games, I'm
pretty sure he plays a lot.
I believe him when he says he's good at something because he's amazing at pretty much every first person shooter he picks up. Like Battlefield Bad Company 2 is that the last one? I don't know.
It came out, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was ranked 17th in the world.
See, there you go. That's what I'm talking about, an actual leaderboard.
Yeah, and he has pictures of it and everything. He's ranked 17th in the world on Xbox 360. So, yeah, I mean, that's just an example of how good he is at games. But then again, he does nothing else. That's
how if you really want to be on leaderboards of a game or be really good at it, you just have to log those hours.
Yeah.
I mean, you also have to be pretty good at them, too. But, yeah. I mean, I've experienced it with games before where if I was able to just like be laid off and just sit around the house and play games. That if I seriously focused on playing that particular game, I could make it on that game's leaderboards.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's
is it worth it?
It's
That's
not,
kind of my question.
It's not really worth it. It's cool. It's fun.
It is
you're
cool.
having a good time.
Yeah.
But it's not that much. It's such a empty virtual thing. Like I think about some of my characters that I've made in MMOs, and they're there forever, as long as the game is there.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm not playing it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even exist.
Yeah. That's probably the reason, actually, why I do not own a PS3 or Xbox 360 is, I always ask myself that, like, is it really worth it to get all of these achievements and get all of these leaderboards when you know
if you know your personality type is that you want a 100% games and really get into them, then it might be worth it.
Oh yeah. I could definitely see satisfaction.
I understand that,
but is it really like a bragging type to all the?
Well, yeah, it's like a kill death ratio, and I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Most people say I don't even know what that means.
There's so many games out there now. Most of the general audience only knows the major ones. So unless you're at the top of one of those major ones, that you can.
Who's the kid that won Halo?
Yeah. That would actually be impressive. But I mean, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
But
I
just wanted to get back into favorite games, and I just wanted to drop right into the Metroid series.
Oh god, I haven't played any of the Metroid.
You haven't played any of the Metroids?
No. Maybe I'm sexist or something.
Probably. Brian.
Oh, spoiler!
Spoiler alert! Samus is a chick.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not sexist. I was just playing around. No, but I didn't get into any of the Metroids at all. Did you want to touch back on the Final Fantasies at all, or you just want to call that good?
Well, I don't feel like we can.
Yeah.
Since we talked about the ones we played and enjoyed.
Okay.
We can't speculate.
Yeah.
Well, that other game was terrible because I didn't play it.
Yeah.
They want to speculate because a lot of people had a great experience playing those.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a brief on the Metroids then, since you didn't play any of them.
Okay.
There's the original Metroid on NES. When that first came out, I was very young. I forget which grade, probably like 4th grade or something like that. And I remember seeing that game in Sears, in a kiosk that had the 2 controllers and the Nintendo there, and I was just amazed by what I saw. But it was scary. It was actually scary. Like that music in that game was scary.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, when you're a little kid and you see pixels, it's pixely monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Now I look at it and understand, but I'm like, yeah, it was scary to a little kid.
Yeah, as an adult, you look at it as all these little squares, but as a kid, your imagination, you have more imagination, so it takes.
And that's kind of how it works too with pixels and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When there's like in Super Metroid, when there's these big monsters and stuff, it's like, oh no. But your imagination is very strong with these. But the original Metroid, what I like so much about this game is it was a lot like the Zelda, sense that it was kind of an open world that you can kind of go anywhere you wanted, but there were a lot of limitations based on you had to get like certain weapons, power-ups to let you like double jump or whatever. Was that even in there? The screw attack, and that was pretty cool. No, but like in the original Metroid, you had to get bombs and missiles and whatnot, but it was a side-scrolling platformer shooter, where it was also an adventure. So you had this world and you could go anywhere, and it's one of those games where when it starts off it's really tough because you have a little bit of health and a few hits kills you. But once you get a few energy tanks, everything starts to chill out and you can really enjoy the game.
Alright.
And Super Metroid, Metroid itself, again, some would say it's not as accessible because like I said, it's difficult, very brutal.
Okay.
Not like you die, game over. Here's a password. Good luck. And it's one of those passwords. They've got letters, numbers, and then some crazy characters of the alien game.
It's like 16 characters.
So it's like
spaces.
It's like 8 letters space, 8 letters space. It's this huge, ridiculous name. Passwords. Whew. But Super Metroid was a bit of a step up in that, having the save system and a much more beautiful world, much like what happened with Link to the Past. For the original Legend of Zelda, Super Metroid was like that. Yeah, it's a good game, great time. I actually recently replayed it.
Okay.
Love it. But
was this on an emulator? Or was this?
Yeah, obviously on an emulator. I don't have my Super Nintendo's back at my mom's house, but after that, there was actually before that was a Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. And if you ever played the Game Boy, you had 4 shades of green. So it was still a pretty decent game, but it's a highly inaccessible. It's a very difficult game unless you're ready to accept that playing on a Game Boy game.
Yeah, but it was so advanced at its time.
Oh, at the time it was a great freaking game.
Oh yeah.
I guess they took a kind of a rest with the Metroid. There wasn't one on the N64.
I don't remember one.
No, there wasn't one. And
Okay.
there were some people that were a bit let down about that, but no big deal. And then they released the Metroid Prime on the GameCube. I really enjoyed the game. It was cool, looked cool, had good music. They made like 3 more of them or 2 more of them, right? They made a bunch more.
Yeah,
I actually have them.
Quite a few.
I have them there right there under the TV, like that Metroid.
And she's
corruption and stuff.
She's in all of the battle games.
Is this Super Smash?
Super Smash Brothers. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot the name of that. But yeah, she seems to be in all of those. What's the backstory behind her? Because I literally know nothing about those games. I just know that she's some sort of
she's just
Metroid
some broad.
robot. Yeah.
No, she's basically just this. I think she's a bounty hunter or something like that.
Okay.
And she basically has this special suit.
Okay. Yeah.
That kicks ass.
I figured. Yeah. She can like roll into like a ball.
Yeah, she rolls into a ball and she has like the gun arm.
Yeah. She's sexy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think these newer ones, Metroids have been a bit less well received, on account of like they kind of made her weaker and like they made her get naked as much as possible. Like the original cool thing about Metroid was you didn't know it was a girl.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Until like the end, she took it up with this newer one. It just focuses on her being a girl, and not so much a fun game. But there was, it stayed pretty strong on the portable because there were several Game Boy Advance and so on Metroids, like you had a Metroid Fusion. God, there was a couple. I can't even say the name of the games now. But I have them sitting in a bag in the closet somewhere. But they were all really awesome, like Super Metroid style Metroids.
Okay.
There were a few of them, and then they when they came to the DS, they made Metroid Prime Hunters, which was a lot like Metroid Prime. It was 3D. It was pretty cool.
Okay.
I mean, for seeing a first-person shooter on the DS, it was pretty cool.
Okay, I'm gonna have to give those a shot because I mean, I've always been interested. Just haven't taken the initiative to
it's a bit
get up and play one.
Like the Game Boy one or the DS one, where it's the first-person shooter, Metroid Prime Hunters. It almost feels a little bit haphazard.
Okay.
Because you're trying to play an FPS on this thing. And you can tell that this is the first game that they've done this with.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's still cool. I enjoyed it.
It definitely sounds like a fun series.
They're good times if you enjoy them. Did you play any of the Castlevanias?
Sadly, I think that's another game that I own and have not yet touched.
Well, classically there was Castlevania 1, 2, and 3 on NES. Very popular games at the time. 1 was pretty much a side-scroller. Action game, level to level. Number 2 was called Simon's Quest. It actually was a bit of an adventure game, but it was also a side scroller. So the world was like a Metroid world of just like a big crazy place that you could explore and get to new places at different times based on what you had gear. But it's very difficult, weird, obscure game. Like there's stuff in that game that I don't know how anybody figured out.
Okay.
Like there's some part where you have to have some item and you select that item and you go to the corner of some world and kneel down and you have to hold kneeling down for like 5 or 10 seconds.
Yeah, it had to be one of those
things. And a tornado appears and takes you to the next world. This whole other area. And then there's more than just that. There's several things like that. And whoever originally figured that out and how we ended up beating that game back in the days is beyond me. But I remember beating that game on Nintendo.
I wonder if it was leaked.
It was my subscription to Nintendo Power magazine.
Oh, is that it?
Probably that. Because they always had the tips and secrets.
Yeah.
How do you beat this thing anyway? But
was it just me or did it seem like a lot of the tips and secrets were just like very, very minor? I didn't.
Oh God, it's filler.
Yeah.
Most of that kind of stuff is just filler.
Of course. I don't remember subscribing to Nintendo Power as a kid.
That was kind of before your time.
Yeah.
The Castlevania series. There was the one on Super Nintendo that I didn't really get into that much. I didn't really care for that style, and a lot of people didn't care for it, I guess.
Okay.
But it was much like the original Castlevania, where it's still like a linear progression kind of levels, level, blah. But
what was the one that
the big one
that Kedron was playing?
Yeah, this is the one I was going to get into.
Oh, okay.
I guess maybe. Or you're talking about the one on the PlayStation, or
I can't remember.
Are you talking about the side scroller?
I can't remember if he was playing like some sort of downloaded.
Are you talking about as a side scroller?
It was a side scroller.
So it's Symphony of the Night. Yeah, I was going to get into Symphony of the Night next because Castlevania Symphony of the Night is probably the game where they changed the way the game was played, and for some reason it hit well, and it's a great game. It's basically there's kind of this genre that people call Metroidvania.
Okay.
Which is basically, if you've got a game where it's a side-scroller game, there's a platforming, it's basically just a big world. You can really go anywhere you want in that world with no restrictions, except for the fact of your gear. Like in Metroid, it's like, well, I need like or Super Metroid, you see, I need missiles to open this door, or I need high jump boots to get up here.
Okay.
Or I need whatever to get to this next area. Well, Castlevania is the exact same way. You'll get powers like where you can turn to smoke or mist to get through a grate, and so on. It's just exactly the way you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But that genre of game, and some people call it, like I said, Metroidvania. It's the combination of Castlevania and Metroid is one word, because they're pretty much the same type of game.
Okay.
There's like I said, you're in that world, you explore, there's monsters everywhere, and you get all these crazy weapons you can use to kill those monsters. The Symphony of the Night on PlayStation 1 was the one that really hit that style well. It had all these different creatures and forms you could take, you transform into. There's the inventory system was a lot like Final Fantasies, where you could just collect all these wacky weapons that monsters would drop, or you'd find them somewhere.
Okay. And
you could buy and sell them for money and buy other stuff. So it's pretty well integrated.
And you could level up your
you could also level up. So it was also an RPG, pretty much. Yeah, you could level up your guy.
It looks beautiful, and
it's cool. And the music is so cool.
Yeah.
It's a legendary game.
What was the one phrase that the guy kept saying in that game that just got stuck in all?
I'm interested in this.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Whenever you go to the guy in the library, he's the shop, and every time your character Alucard picks an item, he goes, "I'm interested in this," and the voice acting in Symphony of the Night it's pretty funny. I must say it's kind of hilarious because it's clearly not the best voice acting. It's old PlayStation 1 voice acting of. It's a game made in Japan, and they found a guy who could speak the most clear English, and they just threw him on there. So just go, just do it. But that's how a lot of those are.
Yeah, not a lot of those games actually had voice acting, did they? I don't. Which console was this one on?
What, PlayStation 1?
It was on. Oh, it was on PlayStation 1. Okay, never mind then. I take that back.
Well, like I said, all those early games, voice acting was silly.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But that game spawned another huge series of games. Now they tried to do that classic level-to-level Castlevania game of like a Dracula X or something. There was a few other titles that were in that same vein, but they just didn't really stick. But what happened was they took that style because Symphony of the Night was so well received and respected. People loved it so much they redid them, not the exact game, but the similar style game. Mm-hmm. Basically the same gameplay, the same idea, on the Game Boy Advance and then with the DS. And they made like 6 of these games, and they all did really well.
Damn.
Like there were a few that kind of veered off and they weren't as well received, but they made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I guess people like this newer one they've got on PlayStation. I don't have a lot of experience with it, The new like PS3 one or whatever, like Lords of.
I saw Brandon playing that one, and it definitely looked very beautiful.
Everybody says it looks good.
Yeah. As far as gameplay and level design, I wouldn't know anything about it.
I'm not even sure where to go with that.
Yeah. It's sad I haven't played any of these newer games. Like with the Final Fantasies, 10 was the last one that I played. So.
Yeah, well, I've had so much trouble with that where like I got some Xbox games and like my Xbox Red Ring, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of games still in plastic, but thanks to like services like Steam.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That makes it so accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter what computer I go to, I can log my account and play a game. Excuse me. Play a game that I want to play. There they are. They're all there. I bought them. Boom. So that's actually helped me a lot with playing newer games. If it's on Steam, I can check it out usually.
I don't know what it is about me and newer games, but I just have this weird attachment to all the older ones, and I just haven't decided to go out and buy an Xbox.
Well, maybe what that means is 5-10 years from now, you'll be playing all these modern games.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
There you go.
I would like to try Final Fantasy 12 because everyone keeps telling me that one was pretty fun. But the reason why I didn't like Final Fantasy 12, sorry to get a little off topic, but the reason why I didn't really like the idea of Final Fantasy 12, even though I haven't even played it, is they completely switched the battle systems up. It's no longer random battling. Apparently, you can see your enemy from far away.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that.
So that kind of made me a little sad. I dropped a few tears, but.
If you're gonna cry, that's a good reason.
Yeah.
Another game, just not necessarily this series, but man, one of my old favorites is like Jak and Daxter.
Oh yeah.
We've talked about
course.
this. Love that game and here's why I love that game. Besides, I love platforming games.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. Like all the Marios.
Yeah.
Those are so much fun. I should probably go into that.
Oh, there's so many games we haven't touched.
But one thing I like about Jak and Daxter so much was the same reason I like Legend of Zelda so much, or like the Metroid so much. It's literally an open world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's still Jak and Daxter is a bit more linear in the fact that you're not gonna run all the way to the last level from the start. You have to actually complete. You get those precursor orbs.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find those. You have to find a certain number before you can really advance to the next zone. However, the way that system's done is it really is this big open world, and you literally run to all these places. But again, you have to unlock it. Like I'm trying to remember. I can't remember specifically. Like I think I forget if you're just talking to somebody or whatever, but somebody has to activate something. Like somebody has to activate this big lift that takes you to this one area, or you have to get enough precursor orbs to get that vehicle to activate.
Yeah.
And that vehicle takes you to this like lava chute. And once you drive through that, you open up in this new area. But you can always drive back and collect more things that you didn't collect before. And there's no loading between that. The game smoothly streams all of it. So you're always just you in the game. There's no illusion breaking. You just really get absorbed into that one character and being in that world.
That is brilliant. There's like no break loading from you and the characters. So
it's pretty awesome. That's the stuff I like is like that.
Yeah, I loved Jak and Daxter, and they always had those awesome smart ass jokes.
The silly jokes.
The silly jokes.
Another one of my favorites was Daxter on PSP.
Okay.
That one game.
Okay.
By Ready at Dawn. One of my buddies worked on that. John Jones. He was making characters on it, so I was a bit biased to like it. But when I actually played it, I almost didn't beat it because there's a part of the game with these mini games where you're playing the regular game like everything's fine, but then there's these mini games that they throw you at. That there becomes a point where you have to perform these mini games.
Okay.
And some of them get really difficult, and it's not the gameplay you've been doing the whole time. It's some new little game. And there was a point later in the game where I got to one that was really hard, and I almost stopped playing the game, but I'm like, nah. But what I figured out actually is you can pause the game and unpause the game like quickly to do the old school slow-mo.
Okay, yeah.
During these mini games, and that was the only way I was able to like beat one of them And then after I got past that, I just blazed through and finished the game and loved it.
Oh, nice.
But
Okay.
but once had to figure out that little trick.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they actually used to make controllers for the Genesis that did that.
Well, I had them on my Nintendo too. It was like the turbo button. It just pause, unpause, pause, unpause. It just toggles.
That's so funny. Yeah, I didn't play too many of the Jak and Daxter's games. I beat the first one 100% because it was amazing, and then I played the second one, and I had a demo for Jak X. It was the racing one.
Oh yeah, the racing one. Yeah.
And I didn't play the demo, but it seemed like just a racing game.
It was a different kind of game.
Yeah, completely.
It was like saying, I like Mario. Well, you should play Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Like you might like it because it's an awesome game, but
Mario Kart was awesome. but yeah, it's completely different.
I haven't talked about any of the Marios, but just real quick on Jak, I just want to finish up on this. Yeah, to me, the best one was Jak and Daxter, the original.
Oh yeah.
Because it was that original, just fun, brightly colored, wacky stuff platformer game that was just built right.
Yeah.
It was just built right. And the second one was trying to do the GTA thing. They took it to a bit more adult, and kind of a future city with like everything's a little bit darker. There's cars and they're flying around, and it just became kind of a hassle because instead of like the progression through the fun little levels, you're just stuck doing random tasks, running back and forth through that city. And it was always like, oh, this time now you're being attacked, or no, but there's always like people in the way, and so it's just annoying.
Wasn't like I think at the beginning of that one wasn't Jak like shocked? He was in some sort of like shock.
I think it was one where he was like tortured.
Yeah, he was tortured, and then he came out all dark and he was like cussing. No, I don't know if he was cussing. But
he was like grabbing his balls. And I don't remember if that was that one or the next one, the Jak 3.
I didn't play Jak 3, but so
just to say real quick, Jak X came out. That was literally just a racing game for the most part. But Jak 3 it was like Jak 2, but the whole open world system was much better implemented. You could still run around and still jump, have a good time doing these platforming levels, and there was still these driving areas, and you get cars and those you upgrade it as you win, I think. Mm-hmm. But it was all like nicely distinct in their own. Like if you were doing one part, you weren't being bothered by some other thing.
Okay.
Like which was a big problem I thought with Jak 2. Yeah. Was that you are trying to do this quest, but I've got all this junk in the way that's always here.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't like it as much as the original, but it was still I thought it was better than Jak 2, and I really liked it a lot.
Okay. I want to give Jak 2 another shot and maybe beat that.
Yeah, it could be worth giving another shot.
I don't even know if it's worth just doing them chronologically or just skipping on to 3. It might just be worth just skip 2 and go on to 3. Why not? I've already given it a shot. But
3's pretty epic.
But one thing I thought was really interesting is I really enjoyed Jak and Daxter, and I also really enjoyed Ratchet and Clank, and they both came out right around the same time.
They're both very similar.
Yeah.
And especially the originals.
Yeah.
They, like with Jak, they kind of took it in its direction, and with Ratchet and Clank, they took it in that more. Ratchet and Clank became more of the shooter.
Yeah.
And almost to a fault if you liked a lot of those other elements.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I kind of felt about it, because I have all the Ratchet games as well.
I could see that, because that's the whole reason why I didn't really like Ratchet and Clank 2 or 3, is it was just
and then that one Deadlock came after that, and that was just pure shooter.
That was another Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, that was the fourth one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even know about that one. But
I might have it. I made a high poly model of that Ratchet Deadlock character way back.
Oh, nice.
I liked it. It was pretty cool. I mean, dated for today, but I made it in Maya 6 or something.
But yeah, Ratchet and Clank, the original, was definitely a fun one. They had all these brand new guns, and it was fun to play. I played with my cousin.
Fun guns in that game.
It was fun to just run around, and then once you die, you hand it off to your buddy or in my case, cousin. And because the whole thing we were trying to do was also collect a whole bunch of bolts so we could buy the Rhino, which was like 150.
They did a really interesting thing with that. If you had your little whatever you call those PlayStation save cards, if you had that in there and you had, I forgot what it was, you'd either beat it or got that Rhino in the first game when you started the second one, you had access to.
Yeah, I think I remember if you beat
bonuses.
If you beat the game, you do get all of your weapons back.
Oh, there you go.
At the beginning of the next one. But
that's pretty cool.
There's no fun. I mean, to me, there was no fun in rebeating the game with all the weapons again. I mean, I've already beat it once. All the jokes are already.
I want
ruined.
the jokes.
Yeah, the jokes were great. They had
it's not the destination; it's the journey.
One thing I didn't like about that game though was the loading. One time I think.
Yeah, that's right, because you have to get in the ship and fly the ship to the planet. It plays that whole
it was nice, but one time
it looked nice.
One time it got stuck, and it would literally play that ship just flying around for. This is an exaggeration, but like a couple minutes or so.
Sure.
No, it was. Yeah.
Get to the planet already.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is the future. Come on.
Come on. Future.
No, do you want to move on to Mario? That's a pretty big topic. Or do you want to go on to back to the old school, go Genesis?
Well, I think we should just wrap up with Mario.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
We're an hour 20 minutes in.
Oh wow.
Plenty of talky talk.
Yeah. Well, Mario obviously started out on the NES, and it was...
Well, Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers, yeah.
Because there was Mario Brothers before that, and then there was Donkey Kong before that.
Oh, okay.
Remember those games? Did you ever play Mario Brothers?
I was like...
Where it's just a single screen, and the turtles and stuff will come out, and it's you and Luigi, and you hit the floor below it, and then you... kick it.
Well, I remember doing some stuff like that in Super Mario Brothers, but a lot of the old Super Mario or the old Mario games I didn't really touch.
Sure.
Yeah, I was like 4 when they came out or something.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Those are games you would have had to have replayed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Super Mario.
And by then there was all sorts of
Mario
games.
I remember when I got the Nintendo for Christmas one year. And the Super Mario Brothers, that's what came with it. Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt in the same cartridge, because I didn't have the power pad.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was playing it so much, and I got through that first castle, and I'm like, I did it. I won the game, I did it. And there was that toad. I was like, what is this? And then the next level was a water level, and I'm like, whoa. When does it end?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
That would be super fun to experience that for the first time, but it's kind of sad.
You can never go back.
One of the big reasons why I didn't get to experience the whole early Super Mario games is my brother and I got an NES. Our parents saved up all this money to get it for us, and we played it for 12 hours straight doing Duck Hunt, because Duck Hunt was an easy game to just hand off to your brother once you're done, and we played it for 12 hours straight, and it red ringed.
Really? That sucks.
Yeah, so we never got to play it again. It didn't work the next day, but so then we just went to Sega Genesis.
Well, we got a lot out of Duck Hunt. That's what's important.
Yeah. Duck Hunt was a fun one.
Now, the Super Mario Brothers 2, that wasn't actually released in the U.S. It was re-released later with Super Mario All-Stars. When they called it the Lost Levels. Now, I guess the original story on that was that they thought it was too hard.
Okay.
So they took another game, which I can't say the name of now, and just put the Mario characters on top of it. And that's why Super Mario 2 is a completely different game than Super Mario Brothers. Totally, all the mechanics and everything is just completely different. But I loved Super Mario Brothers 2.
Oh yeah.
It was so awesome, and I would just... There was always this class of gamer. You know how good the person is by who they choose?
Oh yeah.
I would always be... Unless there was a specific level where there was a character that had a reason that you had to do a special jump or whatever, I was pretty much always Toad. Because Toad was the fastest. He picked up things snappy. Now his jump was the least, but because his response was so high, you could just plow through any level.
All right.
This thing is in my way, die. This thing is in my way, die. It always was tough with the princess. She's picking up things slow. You're oh, she can fly, but she's so slow. So
you pick up things like a girl.
Yeah. So with those cases of later down the road of those birdos where they spit the eggs, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just spit fire. So you have to pick up those blocks and throw it at them. So if you're Toad, you're just bam, 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 game over.
Game over, done.
Yeah, whereas other characters you kind of have to wait a little bit and you have to worry about, you have to time it, so it's like, get it out of here.
Sadly, that's another one I never played, but
it was a lot of fun. I remember, like I said, I was really young and I actually had like a cousin who was older than me beat it for me the first time to show me. I couldn't beat like a certain part, but then after I saw him play through it, I was able to kick ass.
Oh, hell yeah, hell yeah.
But I remember being just amazed in my basement watching this older kid play the game and just romping on it, just messing it up. Like, yeah, kick ass.
The first Mario game that I've ever truly played was Super Mario 64.
Mario 64, whoo.
Yeah.
But you're skipping two great ones there.
I know. I realize that.
Super Mario 3, super awesome one. We won't get into it too much because everybody knows it's cool.
I did.
Super
go
Mario
back.
World, however.
I did go back and play Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. Super Mario World is another one of those cases like Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Mario. It jumped to SNES and jumped well, like very well, and did an awesome job. Great game, one of my favorites of all time.
Oh, it was super.
And
fun.
it's still a game that it's. People modify it and play it like you can see these videos. You can look up these videos of people that have made. They figured out how to use all those wacky mechanics of that game to make a game that plays the levels that play themselves. And then after they made people play the level play itself, people figured out how to make it play songs. And so there's these videos of Mario just being automatically pushed through the level, and all the sounds that happen when he hits all those things play music.
Oh, that is awesome.
And that's how advanced the platforming mechanics are for Super Mario World are. There's no game that has more advanced platforming mechanics. It's the best.
Oh my gosh.
And the fact that people made levels that play themselves while playing music.
Yeah.
Pretty much proves that.
Yeah.
You can't really argue that. I've seen guys that play that game and they can pick up a key and get running really fast and jump in the air and then throw the key, then pick it right back up and keep throwing it and just fly through a level. And it's like, wow.
Wow.
That is so cool. I never was able to do any of these tricks back in the day.
Yeah.
But now people just kept playing that game and figuring out new things. That's the interesting about it. Is like a lot of the old games, it's like, well, it was done. But this game, people are still figuring out these things.
Yeah, it was also very good looking too. I mean, once again, it was Super Nintendo.
Oh god, Super Mario World is a beautiful game.
Yeah, it was definitely a very, very good looking.
And so much humorous stuff about it. But as much as that advanced gaming, if there's any game that advanced 3D gaming more than Mario 64, it's such a huge. If you go back and play some of those things that they did. Literally, Super Mario 64 is the first time almost all these platforming mechanics were even experimented with.
Yeah.
There's some stuff in that game. I remember way back when I had to design that platforming educational game, Nano Legends. One of the main things I did for reference on that was just to go back and replay all of the Mario 64 levels. Because there's some that are pretty straightforward and basic, but there's some later on that are... These designs and layouts were they built. It was basically just like a small box room.
Yeah.
But inside that was this crazy platforming level where all this stuff was happening. Like, these incredibly dynamic levels, like things moving around.
They really took advantage of the whole new 3D experience.
Yeah.
And, oh man, they did.
Things levels have simplified.
Yeah.
Since then, because those levels are advanced. Like, those are some advanced levels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying Mario Galaxy is a simplification. The Mario, Nintendo's kept pushing that series, but I'm talking about the influence that should have had on game design. It should have stuck, but the reason it didn't is because it is hard.
Yeah,
those levels were difficult. When I was trying to get some ideas from them, I was like, this idea is too advanced for me. And there was one level that I ended up designing that was one of the most heavily inspired because it had this long run of platforming that you went through, and then you did this valve and that raised the water level, and the whole level changed, and you're on this upper level, and it had all these other side areas you could go to find all these crazy power-ups, and that level just ended up being the most difficult for the gamers, and I think we ended up scrapping a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because it was an awesome level, but it was just so advanced, and we were so many years past that
that's one of those games that I want to go back and replay really bad, just because it was such an amazing game.
Oh, that's great.
I think that and Ocarina of Time were probably the reason why N64 was one of my favorite consoles of all time.
Well, they launched some great titles. I mean, N64, we got Ocarina of Time, we've got Mario 64, we've got the Banjo-Kazooie series, you've got like
there's all sorts of
FPS games as well. Besides fun platformers and adventures, there was the GoldenEye series and Perfect Dark.
Yeah. Go back and try to play those now. It's so strange without the second joystick. But
yeah, those games,
but they were
really defined a
great at
lot.
the time.
Really defined a lot.
Oh man, I sucked at Perfect Dark and James the 007.
Yeah.
I sucked at those. My brother and uncle would kick my ass all the time.
I'd say back to Mario really quick. There was a lot of Mario games. I mean, a lot of them put on the portable units.
Yeah.
Like there's the Super Mario Land and Land 2.
Oh my gosh, they had all sorts.
There's all those re-releases of them where they re-released all the original games, but with more stuff. There's more content, so they're more fun to go back and play those.
Yeah, they had a couple.
There's been so much good stuff with Mario on the portables.
GameCube really took it and did a lot of side stories. Like they had one about Luigi. Oh,
Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to move on into those titles too. Like there was Mario Sunshine. I didn't like Mario Sunshine as much.
Yeah. I
felt like it wasn't as Mario as it could have. Like,
it was Mario-esque.
Yeah, it was Mario-esque. It had some problems with loading.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a lot of, like if you died in a level, it loaded the overworld, kicked you out of that level. Boom, you're back in the overworld. You have to get up, go find the entrance to that level again, jump in it, load it, then you're back at the start of that level.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's one of those where they get difficult towards the end, and there's like a platforming thing where it's like, oh, you just missed a jump.
I remember.
Now you have to go all the way. It was just so much loading.
Yeah.
For me, that was kind of a deal breaker. But I was a huge fan of Mario Galaxy on the.
Oh man, Mario Galaxy was amazing. It was it was the first time that navigation was used, and the Wiimote and all that, and you had to like point this little. Like, didn't you have to point this hand thing to collect the stars?
Oh, you could do it. You could point it and collect them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would go like flying through something. You could just point it and collect them, or you could just be standing there and just point it and collect them.
Yeah.
And you could have couldn't you have a second player help you out with that too? I know you could do it in Mario Galaxy 2. In Mario Galaxy 2, they really upgraded that second player bonus.
I think you could. I never owned a Wii, but I played it at my buddy's, and yeah, it was definitely an awesome game. Every world was just these giant spheres. Basically,
oh god, Mario Galaxy is a trip. It is amazing.
All the way around.
I suggest Mario Galaxy to anyone, but Mario Galaxy 2 is a bit harder. Okay. It might be good if you want that. That's good, but it's a bit less accessible because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people would argue that Mario Galaxy was too easy. Of course, if you try to do the 100%, you'll find it's pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to Mario Galaxy 2, it kind of forced you to play levels and forced you to play very difficult things. Like there was one part where you pick up like Yoshi, you would bite these hot peppers and he'd run really fast.
Okay.
And there were these levels where you had to run fast, and you had to run fast enough so that he could go up walls and run, and I would always die. Like I would play these levels just over and I've been like all day trying to get through this level and just die. But the way they laid it out, you were forced to play that level. Whereas in the previous Mario Galaxy, you're collecting these stars that allow you to unlock levels.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to play all the levels.
But the one thing I do remember about Mario Galaxy was how much of a step up it was from Super Mario 64. I mean,
oh god!
I didn't think it was possible.
The gameplay, oh man, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't think it was possible.
Such a good game.
Oh man, yeah, I need to play that one. I need to get a Wii.
Yeah,
My mom has a Wii. Actually.
Oh yeah. I got a Wii. Wanna borrow it? That pretty much wraps up the Marios. Besides, I don't want to leave this one out. Is the new Super Mario Brothers, the one that came out on the DS. Amazing game, super awesome game. Okay. Did you play that one?
No, I didn't.
It's very much like the classic. It's very much like Super Mario World.
Okay.
But
good. That makes me like it already.
Very, very good game. Very solid. It's upgraded form of that. It's one of those games that there was some point in my life where I did I think it was when I was doing the interview processes of getting my recent job. But before, there was a lot more before that. It was a long process. And I had to do a lot of flying around and stuff. And I'm pretty sure that was the game that I kept in my DS. That when I was just sitting around and at airports or at hotels or whatever, I would play that game, and I replayed it so many times. So that I was just awesome at it. Because it's so good.
What was so special about it being on the DS? Because I remember Mario Kart on the DS, and the mini map was on the bottom screen, and you could see the whole 3D world on the top screen. What was with that game?
I can't even remember what it was specifically.
Yeah, you didn't have to use the pen or.
Yeah. No, there was useful stuff for that, but to be honest, I can't remember.
Was it?
I think it was just a classic raw kind of Mario. They didn't force a lot of that stuff on you.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. I didn't know if it was like still a 2D type game.
Which actually, just to mention that, one of the DS Castlevanias had these spells that you would cast by drawing out shapes.
Oh, nice.
And most of the time they were easy and it wasn't a problem, so it was great. But, yeah.
But then you had to full on sketch something to do the ultimate. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, some of those things get hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that, it's been an hour and 35 minutes here. Might as well go ahead and wrap this up, because if you can probably tell, me and Brian can just sit here and talk forever for some reason, and we don't even know that it's interesting or not.
Yeah.
It's probably not, but
it's interesting to us.
But yeah, so we're probably going to upgrade. You see this webcam Max here at the top. Sorry about that. Got to get rid of that. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris Holden Dev. You can follow Brian on Twitter at Brian_McConnell, which you can see this at the bottom of the screen. And follow Brian, folks, because he doesn't have any. Yeah. He actually just signed up on Twitter like a couple days ago.
Yeah, I've got 2 followers, you and my mom.
Nice. I wonder if I can get your mom to follow me.
Yeah.
I'm looking for 50.
I'm sure.
Follow me, folks. I've got 50 because I just got on Twitter too, like just a little while ago.
Yeah. My first tweet was telling everyone about how I made my first tweet.
Nice. But also, yeah, be sure to subscribe on Facebook, and feel free to say hi, suggest topics or whatever.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to play this outro song, and we're gonna fake like it's the end of the show, like at the end of one of those shows where everybody pals around or whatever. Here we go.